everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. The first time in a long while I've been nervous, filled with anticipation for a Coyotes game. That's how you know it's been a long while since the Coyotes played a meaningful game, probably back to the bubble against the Predators and Avalanche. More likely the Predators because they actually had a chance in those games. But yeah, the first game at Mullett Arena, such a whirlwind of news and emotions the past few days leading up to this moment. National media was coming down to Tempe, Arizona to cover the Coyotes. There was so much positivity from the fans, excited to finally have the Coyotes back in a location where the fans are, and the fans are close to the team. It's not far. It's not an hour Uber ride in rush hour. That's $45. It's in the heart of the valley. And, the Coyotes fans were excited. They were getting free giveaways for mullets at the game. Just the Coyotes fan base was really excited. It was a big moment for them. But on the other side, you had the negativity of the leaked photos of, let's say, the locker rooms or the team shop, and no context surrounding either of those. And, some people who aren't up to speed with the story look at those photographs and think, oh, this is just embarrassing, but they don't understand the context. Those locker rooms will not exist in 6 days. An NHL team will not use those leaked locker room photos in 6 days. Once after those 6 days are done, once the NHL comes back to the Mullett Arena, they'll have state-of-the-art NHL locker rooms and a team shop. The Coyotes invested $25 million in these locker rooms, so stay tuned, not a big deal. And on top of that, it was just announced that the actual new Tempe Arena vote will happen at the end of November, so hopefully this could just put everything behind us. No more relocation jokes, no more just other fan bases just dogpiling on the Coyotes. Once that new arena is sealed and approved and they start working on the landfill, those jokes will just fall flat. Gary Bettman even said once that Tempe Arena gets approved, the Coyotes will have to sign a 30-year deal to stay in Arizona. So they'll be there for 30 years. Hopefully it gets voted through at the end of November. But let's get to the game. The game started off with a bang. Coyotes had so much energy and speed. They came out to a 2-0 lead. Both goals by Christian Fischer. I was expecting a Mullett hat trick where Fischer gets his third goal and all the Mullet's defense had gets thrown onto the ice. But, obviously, unfortunately, it didn't happen. They lose 3-2 in overtime to the Jets. But they started off really strong. They were toe-to-toe with the Jets. They actually outshot the Jets and actually had one of the best first period performances. I know they were up 2-0 against Columbus the other night, but they only had 4 shots in the first period against Columbus. But here, they had 9 shots. They're dictating the pace. I know the period ended 2-1, but they just looked like a really good team when they had that 2-0 lead. Vejmelka made a huge save on a defensive breakdown right before Fischer got both of his goals. This game was one of those Vejmelka performances that if the Coyotes won this game, it would just go in his repertoire of games that he outright just stole. The Coyotes had no business in getting a point. If they won this game, they had no business in getting 2 points. This was just a classic Vejmelka game where he stood tall and kept the Coyotes in it for as long as possible. Just feel like after the first period, the Coyotes couldn't get really much going. They had 2 power plays in the second period. Some shorthanded chances here and there, but by the third period, they only had 2 shots in the third period, and Winnipeg had 13. Coyotes found themselves in penalty trouble in the third period. 3 penalties that they managed to kill off. Their penalty killing has been pretty good. I hope to see what their percentage is at. It might be league average. Their power play is about top 10. So hopefully their penalty kill is really good as well. But yeah, it was an unfortunate ending, but mainly for this game, I was looking for what is it like as a viewer on TV to watch these games. So number one, you can't even tell that it's a 5,000 seat arena. The camera angles are beautiful. It just looks like any other hockey game you would watch. The lighting was perfect. No more blue tint. I know ESPN was covering the game, not Bally Sports. So hopefully when we get back to a regional broadcast, the blue tint from last year is gone and put behind us. But the ice looks very clean, very fast, good ice noises here and there. I feel like the crowd noise was a bit diluted, but I think that was because of the broadcast. Some of the Twitter videos I saw online, the place was rowdy and loud. They were booing at some of the penalty calls against the Coyotes. That didn't really translate well on the broadcast, but I think that's just the broadcast tuning. Maybe it was just an ESPN thing where they tuned down to fan level noise. Maybe they, over anticipated that the crowd noise would be too loud, so they tuned it down a bit low. I'm excited to see how it sounds on the Bally Sports regional broadcast if they do that. No goal horn. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe they could get a YouTube rip of the goal horn from Gila River Arena. That was a bit strange. We'll see if that's a thing. If they're not going to use a goal horn or they just forgot. The Coyotes did not score after the first period, so if that was brought to the attention of anyone, they didn't really get a chance to show off that they fixed it. But I knew the crowd was loud because at certain points, like when a ref was calling a penalty and announcing it, you could barely hear them and you could hear the boos. You heard the drum line during the PK really loudly compared to Glendale. And, the chants of "Let's Go Coyotes" was pretty loud, louder than you would hear in Glendale as well. So I feel like the crowd is actually louder, but it didn't translate well on the ESPN feed. But we'll see. But the main thing for me was that whenever the camera panned to the crowd, it was just Coyotes fans. And that was so great to see. Like, as a Coyotes fans, you rarely saw that in Glendale. Like, it was always away fans, especially big ticket teams. Maybe not Winnipeg, but like LA, Chicago, an original 6 team, the Avalanche even lately. It was just those fans in the crowd, and they would cheer so much when the away team scored. But, now in this new arena, whenever the camera panned, whenever the Coyotes did something good, you could hear the positive feedback. You could see just all the fandom and everyone having a good time in their Coyotes gear. They're drinking. The student section seemed pretty wild, even though those people didn't look like students. They looked like middle-aged people. It just looked like everyone was having a good time. There were so many more Coyotes fans, rarely any Winnipeg jerseys. I know Winnipeg's not a big market team, but still, they would show up for Glendale games. So it's good that it's a lot of Coyotes fans. It feels like the Coyotes' home. And what I just hope is that the Tempe arena deal gets approved so we could show that we can do this at a standard 16,000 seater arena. And it's not just because it's a smaller 5,000 arena. They could fit all the Coyotes fans. So hopefully that gets approved. I thought it was a good game. It was competitive. It wasn't a blowout. I think that's what I ultimately wanted, was not a blowout. I was expecting a win, but deep down I know it's one of those years where you can't always expect a win when you want to. But to get an overtime loss, to keep it competitive, to give the fans a good show, a little extra time of hockey. Just a bad play on the blue line in overtime, and it goes in. I think Vimelk had a great performance, becoming a fan favorite. I'm sure the crowd had a great time, and they just got to continue doing that. Maybe lose in regulation next time by 1 goal. For the tank, it's better to lose in regulation than go to overtime. They got the Rangers Sunday night. That's a really good team, probably a big test. To have a really good elite team in Mullett Arena. And we'll see how that goes. Hopefully no blowouts at home, but, it's the Rangers against this Coyotes teams. You can't really hope that it's not going to go that way, but we can pray. So that's it for me. Hopefully everyone at the game, I know a lot of people were at the game. They were looking like they had a great time. So just keep it going. Hopefully the novelty doesn't wear off. And it just grows into something that we look back on as this was a really fun time to be a Coyotes fan and just experience this type of atmosphere. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.